And we're back. Okay. Yeah, doing it live. Hmm. I wonder if that is better or if this is better. But that one is. That's my bet. No camera dog. Who this? I'm watching streaming streams. There we go. There's a delay on things. Wait a minute. No. Okay. Then I gotta remember to start closing my wet palette or it's not gonna be wet. It's gonna be dried out. Sometimes I put too much on here. Just a sneak. It's a very unpleasant noise when that scrapes. So now we're just going back in. Doing the same thing we've done all the other spots. Just adding some nice cream tones. It's our very not even dry brushing. It's very, 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 very thin. Then wispy coats, wet little coats. So it dries like a thin little layer, like actual skin. And that's, I think, a good chunk of why the skin tones typically, I think, look really good. That's because I like to layer them like real skin. It's not the same, but the concept, similar principle. And inks. Inks have always been a key part of my style. Going back to chestnut ink from GW, that was, I'd say, my favorite. It's a really good ink. And the Liquitex acrylic, Liquitex acrylic is transparent burnt sienna. That is the closest that I have found to the old Citadel chestnut ink. Now, old possum, it's good to be back. It feels great to be back. It feels like it's been years. Yeah, I really I like that, the transparent sienna. It's good. I like inks and washes a lot. I think just a lot of really intense pigmentation is very, very good for making intense things more intense and also for like making subtle work, I think, stick out more. Like you wouldn't really notice like the parts of the skin that seem really milky and gross if you didn't have the other parts to like kind of highlight. It's all about like building up dynamics. Just one of my concepts of music, composition of anything really. I'm a chatter. I like to chat. I've never had a problem talking to myself because I think I'm pretty funny, and I always get all my jokes. Man, oh man, that skin's looking nasty. I'm thinking looking pretty nasty. my skin looks like that, I'd say, oh, it's time to go to the doctor. Or I might just say, fuck it, there's no chance. It was a good run. That's gross. That's gonna, I'm liking that. I'm really feeling that. Yeah, the spots where it's darker here on the face, I'm slowly just trying to build those up. One wisp of color at a time. Yeah. Man, oh man. Sometimes just painting all this skin, you're just like, all that skin. Where did that even come from? Who is this guy? What is this guy doing? What's his story? Well, he's a demon. Very phallic. Initially, the idea was the concept of this demon uh, and frustration, as is the title. Uh, I wanted to create a demon that embodied what I thought was just the like epitomization of like male sexuality, like from a very deranged lens, pretty brutalist. Not even deranged. I would just say my lens is my take on toxic masculinity. Just a large phallic shape, deaf, dumb, blind, snamming its way around life. Uh, got a lot of negativity towards guys, I guess, myself included. A lot of things worked out, maybe, or maybe already did. I'm a babbler. Just babbling, talking, painting. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Actually, I don't have anything negative to say. Ooh, that's good. That's good. Get off there. Too wet. Too wet. Ah, oh, man, I'm just showing you the hair. What am I doing? I'm sorry. Over here talking to myself, babbling. But I am slowly giving you guys everything you need for my smear campaign, so that's fun. I always find that kind of fun to think about. Just like whenever it comes, it's like, man, I don't even remember saying that, but yeah, I better say that. That's crazy. That sounds like something I do. I don't hate dudes. Most of my friends are dudes. I just don't have very strong, if any, like real male figures in my life, so I kind of had to be my own. And growing up only around women, you kind of just see things differently over time, I think. But I did not have another male like in the house with me until I moved out. In my 20s. I was 26. Yeah, so until then, I had literally never lived with another guy. It was just women. I've been dying. I've been dying to know what the reddish color you used on the tentacles is. So on these, sorry, I don't mean to just rant. If there's anything you would like me to talk about or rant about, feed something in there and I'll just go on it, dude. But the red on here. So let's see. Let me make sure I've got OBS pulled up in the right window. Yes. Okay. It is looking at what I'm talking about. So the red on here for the most part, was I hit it with burnt red, Procryl. I really like burnt red. I've not used transparent red, but I like transparent red a lot. But I hit it with the burnt red, and then other than that, it's pretty much a bunch of small spots. I've layered transparent burnt sienna, and then in other spots, it's just Reichland flush shade, and it's just that. Like, I think that's really a key point of my style is playing around with just flesh, but it's just knowing when to keep going to get a deeper, darker, redder tone, and when to pull back. Damn, I missed a few days, and wow, it looks awesome. Bottom of the food chain. Hello and welcome. Thank you. I'm glad to hear you are digging it. It has definitely changed quite a bit in the past couple of days. I've done a lot more skin tones, and I've done a lot more of the shading. So this is the one that I had, and I'm only showing this because I am now aware that there are multiple. So this is what I picked up yesterday, and I'm kind of not excited. And by not excited, I mean like kind of fucking scared. I really am hoping that it is the same. I'm hoping that this is the same formula. This one in my right hand is from 2015. This one in my left hand is from, if I can find it. Well, it was made in the UK, so that's a problem right there. I'm just kidding. 2021. So there's a good 6 year difference between them. This was made in the UK too. So, well, I mean, I'm not saying that paint made in the UK is better than paint made literally anywhere else. I guess it just depends on the pigmentation. Oh, Christian said, "Oh, hell yeah, dude." I was wondering where you were. I was like, "Where's Chris?" I've been sad. I was like, maybe I should go back to Instagram. But yeah, also, I realized I don't think Dark Isles is here, but I am a piece of shit, and I thought that I had been following Dark Isles for like years. Um, and when I went to go show my wife the sweet comment that he said in like a chat, um, I was like, wait a minute, what the fuck? So I had to go at him. So I'm so sorry, Dark Isles. Um, I'm sorry to anyone who says anything to me that I don't respond to. I'm so scatterbrained, as you all can tell. So I'm really kind of hoping. I'm hoping that these are the same mixture, because otherwise it's going to cause an issue because I'm not going to be using the same paints. And I've used that one specifically on all of these. So, and I use transparent red a lot. I would have bought more transparent red, but they did not have any at Hard Knocks, which is the game store that I go to. And my local gaming store is Hard Knocks Games. I went there yesterday and I got a bunch of paint. I'll show you guys a bunch of paint. If you guys want to see the fun paint I got, I'm going to show you anyway because I'm excited about it. And you're probably thinking, what the fuck are you going to do with that? They are not so much for this, but they are for other things. And some of them might be used. Actually, one of them might be used because I really like it. And that's this one. So, nickel, test it on something that is okay to hurt. That's a good idea, Chris. I should do that first. So this is, I'm going to give a little bird. I think I need to put a stir in here. But I'm going to be real, I don't care. I love this thing. There's just something that feels right about making all my paint shake. Anywho, yeah. Anywho, so nickel. This is Dr. P.H. Martins. Dr. Martins, 13R nickel. And I went to Hobby Lobby. Didn't go to Hobby Lobby. I went to Michael's. Yesterday, and they had a bunch of things on clearance. And I said, "Hey, what do you got on clearance?" And they said, "Well, we got some inks, calligraphy ink, watercolor ink, acrylic ink, and I said, hey, I like those things. So I'm excited about this one. But it's nickel, and I don't know. There's a lot of shit like at the bottom, but I saw that and I thought, man, I bet that's gonna look cool. I used to see that brand at Michael's when I worked there, interested to know how it is. Oh, I like it. Yeah, Dr. P.H. Martin's. Since 1934, it's a trusted brand by Red Skeleton. Not since 34, I'm not that old. But I also picked up this iridescent sequence blue. And if you're wondering, hey, you usually do a lot of flesh stuff and like skin stuff and blood stuff. I do, but I thought this would be really good for any kind of screen, like a little LED kind of thing, any kind of like little. I need to have like a little gym kind of effect. Soul stones, I thought they would be good for that. Like this. This also is just like, man, my wife's gonna love that color. Again, Dr. P.H. Martin's, Dr. Martin's since 1934. Don't forget it. Iridescent metallic green. Thought that was pretty slick. So I thought, hey, I'll pick up that. I got the nickel. I got up there. They were like, yeah, the green's not on clearance. Are you kidding me? So I paid $5 extra. I'm sure your wife has something you can use that works just as well as a vortex mixer to shake that shit. Probably. Wait. I don't know if you guys can hear Margot screaming in the background, but she's screaming from the distance. Margot, come to me, my child. I know. Your public awaits you. They've been asking. They're wondering where you are, girl. They're like, where's the jumbo? We only show up here for jumbo. That works just as well as a vortex mixer. Shake that shit. I bet she probably does. I don't know. She's smart. She's got lots of tools. Man, I have little beads. I can just put a bead in there. There's a fuck ton of beads right here. I bought a bunch of beads yesterday. Those aren't for that. Man, I'm so distracted right now. Margot, hi. Taylor Ronnie. This is fluorescent red. Fluorescent red and fluorescent pink. I'm real excited about these two. They will be used for sure. And that also leads me to these two, which are a platinum rose, platinum pink, pearlescent, and then again, Dr. Martin's iridescent calligraphy colors, frosted peach. Dr. Martin again with the frosted peach. Damn, boy. So yeah, I'm excited to see how they go. I love inks. I love playing around in them. I'm gonna make mine for children all kinds of inky, or maybe even some black leaf. I've been trying to think about what I want to do. Also, I need to start thinking of ideas of stuff that I can make videos for. Thinking about that. My neighbor just came out. So I'm in my basement, and if you there's a kitty behind me. I don't want to roll over his little tail. It's my oldest son, Theodore. So there are 4 windows in my basement, and I need to get these replaced because they let in a bunch of cold air. But derailed. They are open around the edges because my house is older. So they let the air in. It's fucking cold, and that's why I've got all these heaters down here. And again, I just need to fix it, but sometimes you just get distracted and then stuff happens. Anywho, all this came down to because there's like a slight hole on it. I can kind of hear outside. My neighbor came outside, and I heard him close his chain link gate. That was it. So anyhow, the red is burnt red, just a bunch of transparent burnt sienna and Reichman flesh. As far as the honey, where even are you? You're just sitting on the stairs. Come over here. Margot. Anywho, child, sweet baby girl. Come here. Come here. Girl, you are wrong. You know that? Trying to show off for everybody. So everyone can see how much special attention you get. Mm-hmm. You're going to typecast yourself as a diva. If you haven't already. You don't want to do that for your windows. Sealing tape for doors, windows, 20. Windows. Oh, hell yeah. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I definitely, it's been on my list of things to do. I moved out of my mom's house. My mom lives like 2 blocks away from where I am. So it seems kind of weird when you're like, oh, you live right down the street from your mom. It was not intentional on that. It was when I moved out, my buddy, one of my oldest friends, like childhood friends, I've known him for forever, Alan. He has actually, if you've seen any really nice photos of my stuff that were not taken by Eric Wire, but any like nice photos of my stuff were absolutely that's some good Margot hair. I'm gonna keep that. That's gross. If cat hair grosses you out, I guess, but if hair grosses you out, get the hell off my channel. Anywho, damn it, it happened. I don't remember what I was talking about. That was cool too. Shoot. Oh well. Oh, the house. Yeah, I got an older house. My house is older. So I fixed a bunch of stuff. During COVID, I rewired the entire thing, which was kind of fun because, well, I mean, it's kind of fun just because it's what I did, like to quote unquote keep from going crazy. During COVID, here's a little bit about me if you guys want to know. Personal life. That's a little pro tip from Red Wet Skeleton. Let your coffee sit for like 40 minutes before you take the first sip. That way it's like warm. And if you're a big baby, it doesn't burn your lips. I'm a big old baby. So yeah, I moved out when I was 26, and I was supposed to move in with my buddy Alan. But he ended up moving to Savannah to go to SCAD. And his parents, who I've known for forever, they owned a house next to their house. So they own a very large house. And I absolutely love. This is going to seem like, why the fuck are you telling me this? It's just kind of funny in a sense of if you know them and you know Paul, it's so funny because it's Paul. So his dad, I can do a pretty good impression of his dad because, again, I've known them for like 20 plus years. Like I've known them way longer than I haven't. Anywho, so his dad sounds like this. One time, I was standing in his kitchen, and they have a pool in the backyard, and it is a saltwater pool, and it is expensive. It is nice. Well, what you need to know is Alan, I'm going to do this story in his dad's voice. So if you hate his dad's voice, I'm sorry, but I'm going to do the story in Paul's voice. So, Alan and I grew up on the same street, which is the street behind my street. It's called Park Avenue. And, well, he lived on one end. And I lived on the other. And as kids, I was always down at his house hanging out. And eventually they got a pool. And years after they got the pool as an adult, I went back and I talked to Paul and I said, "Hey, Paul, hey man, what's going on with that pool that you got in the back? Because, like, you guys had a pool at the old house, and I thought, hey, that was pretty cool. You guys got this pool, and then you just sold the house and moved. Like a year later, you put a pool in, and then you just sold it, and then you bought this house, and you put $500,000 into it, remodeling it, and then put a saltwater pool here. That just seems kind of crazy." And Paul said to me, he gave me some advice that I will pass on to you now. Someone left the chat. They don't like Paul's stream. So Paul said, "Yeah, my wife wanted a pool, and I thought, man, pools are really expensive. But at the end of the day, Eli, it's cheaper than a divorce." And then my wife said, "Oh my God, that house that I've always loved, it is for sale. I have to have it." And I thought, well, that house is really expensive, and I'm going to have to spend a whole lot of money to fix it up. And I just put this pool in the backyard. But at the end of the day, it's still cheaper than a divorce. So then when I got this house, I put the pool in it, and I'm going to die here. And that's kind of just the end of the story. It's just an abrupt stop. The end of the moral of the story, he said, was if you ever want to waste a lot of money really, really quickly, build a pool. Eventually, I would like to have a pool. But all of this comes down to, I live next door to this person. This person, my friend's father, was my landlord and is now my neighbor because they ended up selling us the house that they owned, that they were renting to their son, that I was going to move in. I ended up moving in with my bandmate, Sean, from my band Fern Teeth. You can check us out on YouTube or iTunes or SoundCloud or where else music is. I don't listen. I use Apple iTunes, Apple Music. I don't know. I try to be disconnected. Anywho, that's how I started living in this house. So I lived here for a couple of years, renting it with my buddy. He moved out. My girlfriend moved in. We ended up getting married, ended up buying the house, and here we are. Got quite a bit of work done since. Got a good amount of work on it. I'm quite happy with it. It's the devil, I know. But yeah, the irony in the joke. The joke was I rewired my whole house to keep from going crazy during COVID. And if you think about what I just said, you'll probably figure out what the joke is. The joke is that I rewired my house because I was fucking going crazy. But yeah, on a positive note, I did rewire my house. So now anyone that comes to like do anything, like every plumber or like the HVAC guys, like when the HVAC came and they had to look at it, they were like, man, whoever designed your power setup here over-engineered this thing all can be. It's just, what did they think you were going to be doing? And I'm just like, oh yeah, that's me. I want to be able to use a drill press and my wife do her hair while running the vacuum in the same room, in every room. Why wouldn't I? I never answered. I went off on a tangent. I'm an engineer. I don't think I ever said that. I'm an engineer. So I like to think about things and problem solve and build things. You probably guessed that one. But and I'm an RF engineer, radio frequency, which is definitely one of the things that led me to enjoying a lot of AdMech stuff, just because they mess around with a lot of stuff that I use at work. So it's kind of cool to be like, hey, I know about what that thing is, i.e. radios, radiation. I'm really liking that. That's good. I'm going to have to put more paint on that palette, but right now it's looking really good for just kind of being I don't know how to describe my palette, but what happens is I will get this bad boy very wet. So it's, and you can kind of hear this like when I pull up. So it's quite wet. And then I accidentally put way more paint on here than I meant to. So it kind of just sunk in. Uh, but it's all kind of trapped in this paper with all this water. So if I like kind of do it like that, I'll get it on my brush a little bit. So it's kind of like dry brushing, but wet. Like a wet dry brush. And that's a good, I guess, summary of like kind of how I do a good amount of my painting. Is that kind of wet dry brush pushing into the places where it has, where the inks, where what I want to define the visual, where they have kind of like fallen into. But yeah, I love having people here listening to me talk to myself. Thank you guys. I was thinking about ideas for videos that I need to make, and I was just like, well, I know people have said before that they would like to see hair, specifically Margot hair, and how I take it from finding a lump of hair on the ground in my house or from petting my cat and then getting a bunch of hair to how that Space Marine has a head of hair. And when I initially thought about that, I was like, why the hell would you want to just put the hair on? I'm just like, actually, no, there's a very long, drawn out process. If cat hair was made to go on models, we would have been doing it for a long time, I suppose. That's what Papaw Red Wet Skeleton would say about it. And then he'd also probably be like, but also, I just want to make it very clear, fuck Nazis. Papaw Red Wet Skeleton still has his priorities straight. Speaking of fuck Nazis, and my neighbors, so my buddy's mom was the French teacher at high school, and this comes into play in that she was friends with this guy whose name, their last name was Beaugrand, and he was a French freedom fighter during World War II. Like, this old dude is one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, because again, I met him when I was in high school, so this was like 2005. I'm old. So 2005, these two old French people come into our French class, and they are like, I shit you not, I'm lowball 85. I'm a lowball 85, but I'm betting closer to 90. They're so old and so frail. There is not even a bit of like, yeah, no, we were just, he was just smart. Like, no, this dude was a master fencer. One of the things that like he did, like they showed up, they were just these French people. They came to our French class and they would teach French. They would help her with like teaching us French every now and then. Like, oh, you go sit with the Beaugrands and they'd help you with your pronunciation. But then one time he fucking showed up with these swords, I guess sabers technically, whatever you use like to fence, and was just like, all right, everybody, if you want to try fencing with Mr. Beaugrand, you can. And he fucking kicked everyone's ass so hard that it was just like a joke. You had all of us that are out there playing like ump guard, like going home and like fighting each other with like swords, like a bunch of dumb teenagers, like with real swords, just being dumb kids. And this like elderly man, like with his like hand behind his back, was just like, he was just a beast. But to make him even cooler, not only was he a master fencer, like elderly man, during World War II, he smuggled guns down the river to help fight the Nazis. I was just like, this is the coolest guy I've ever heard of in my life. And then on our honeymoon, Callie and I, we met some dudes at a brewery and went out with them and hung out at some other bars and stuff. And Kelly was talking to one of the dudes about a lot of pop culture related stuff and TV shows. And I was just getting real hammered and talking to the other guy who was French, and his name was Remy. He and I were just talking about grandpa stuff, about World War One and World War Two. So it's just you have a really light-hearted conversation and then like the heaviest conversation, and we're just like, oh, comrade. It was good. It was good. But that was yeah, our honeymoon. And I brought that up for a reason. Man, had to do with something I was just talking about. Got all that dopamine in me though. Beep 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 beep. Beep 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 beep. Shit. Chris, yes, the hair. I have a normal cat and the GF has a Maine Coon. I need this video. Oh, I can show you. I can show you the world. Not doing it. I think I need to put more paint up the palette. I think I could use a little more paint. Yep. That's milky and gross, all right. I just put my kneecap really good. Where all my cats go? Oh. So my wife has a heated blanket that she keeps on the couch, and my eldest son Theo has pretty much just claimed it. It's his now. He lives on the blanket, in the blanket. Vortex mixer. So I have fallen in love with the Vortex mixer in a way that I did not see coming. And I cannot shake the feeling that I need to turn it into something. Like, it needs eyes and arms and legs and teeth, and to just be like a little critter that lives on my desk, and I put paint on its head and it vibrates. Or I could make it to where its mouth is like, and you stick it, that sounds good. Yeah, he's just laying on his back. Put that in his mouth. That's what I'm going to do. He needs to be something. That needs to be like a little critter. Right? I'm right, right? I'm not crazy for thinking that. It's like the opposite of the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas, where she's just like, this doesn't look like a manatee, does it? It's like, it doesn't look like a man, but I feel compelled to turn that into like a little demon. I just think it would look so good. It might help if I open that tube all the way. Okay, I'm not going to make a big mess. Light squeeze. And then the twist. And then the rub of the boop. Get the boop. There, get it off there. Alrighty. Haha. Sounds pretty sane to me. Thank you, Awesome. You're right. 100% has to happen. Okay. That's what I thought too. And initially, I thought that it needed to be on top of his head. That I'm like, hey, let me put this on your head. But now I'm seeing it. I don't know how I didn't realize that it needs to be the mouth. Like, clearly, I've even got teeth. I've got teeth. Hold on. I've got teeth. I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting. Waiting for this moment all my life. I just want to give you the teeth. See, I got these teeth. Man, that'd be fun. You just put them on there. Oh yeah, look at that. I'm just making a mess, but I just needed someone to get on this boat with me. Look at that. That would be fun, right? Fun. I'm gonna do it. Not gonna do it today. I feel like what's gonna happen? If not that, make it into a tiki dancer. I think I'm gonna go with the mouth, but I do, or whatever that you keep on the dashboard of your car. Okay, now that makes more sense. But I do. I see. Well, it's gonna be on my desk. Like it's got to be on my desk so I can mix my paints. Um, I just want it to look more fun. And see, initially I thought maybe I'll just put some skulls, put a bunch of skulls on it, making this weird little like creature. But now I'm like, now that I'm seeing it, I'm like, no, that needs to be its mouth. It needs some arms. It needs hands. I need to bring this thing to life. Drop some teeth. I've also got other teeth I could use. I have so many teeth I could use. I'm a man of many teeth. I'm a man of many teeth. There's a Muppet called Dr. Teeth. I've always been a big fan of him. He looks pretty crazy. I don't know why I keep these skulls on my desk. I think I've been looking at them, and it's like a inflicted like distraction, where it's like I put them there as like a test to like, hey, how long can you like not pick them up and just start sculpting on them and completely stop working on what you're working on and start doing something entirely different. That is what I think that they're there for. I don't do these things intentionally, but I do them, and I am aware. It's kind of like when I was really going through it, and I was like, man, I think I'm doing good. I should buy Space Marine 2. That way I have even more incentive to like not keep working on what I need to. So it gives me more of a reason to like write, to like focus, and it's just like that's not healthy, that's not good. But I probably don't have a lot of healthy ways of dealing with things. But I'm trying to be more open about stuff and talking to people. I have absolutely enjoyed being more less of a hermit, more talking to you guys in the morning while I paint. It has, I mean, it's absolutely changed. I used to wake up and I would just come downstairs and play video games. Uh, but I would tell myself every day, I should have been been hobbying. I used to come down here and do this every day for years. I, wake up at 6:20, 6:40. It just gets later. It's hard to get out of bed. But, I'd come down here and I would just sculpt. I would sculpt, work on stuff until time to go to work, time to make coffee, time to take my sister to school, depending on at what point in time. But that it reminds me of that, of days. It helped. I don't know. I think having a stream and having people to talk to while I do this, and I think people just, I think making myself more open to people liking my art, I think really makes a big difference, at least personally for me. Uh, I have a lot of negativity that I've built up over the years, like in my head, where I don't want to share things that I'm passionate about uh, because I don't want to be hurt. It's more like a defense mechanism thing. But I don't know. It's been a rough past year and a half. A lot of shit has gone on, and I don't really have anything. I don't have any reason to try and keep my walls up. I think I've realized that putting those walls down a little bit and talking to other people, I realize that there's a lot more people out there like me, and that every one of them that I've met, the more and more we have talked, the more I realize, man, I'm not the only one who thinks like I do or likes the things I like. Maybe I should have tried to talk to people sooner. All the years, the wasted years. It's just that, and it's been a wonderful thing to have a community that's just open to talk about stuff and important stuff. always proud to be in a community that rises up to tell Nazis to go fuck off. Felt a little out of the loop just because I try not to. I try not to get involved too much in politics and stuff because I know I cannot. Blackheart. Yeah, man. I try not to. It's not apathetic. I'm not trying to be a maniac here. I obviously am extremely liberal in a lot of things, but there's also things that I guess I am mildly conservative in. But it's just very hard for me to hear and see injustices, and I can't be a part of a civil conversation. I guess that's it. Is I have accepted that I don't get to experience emotions on a very what I am assuming is normal level. Like I only have highs and crippling lows. Like it's typically just extremes. So I try not to look into those things because they make me so angry. And I'm not able to do anything with that anger. So I think I am better off trying to do what I think I'm better off doing what I'm doing or trying to be doing, which is just having a place on the internet where I am talking. Anyone can talk about what they want within reason, and I can talk with them. And they can feel safe to hang out here. I think that was it. It's trying to explain the Finn thing before to people, and the same thing like obviously I'm a big fan of Little Boy Kisser Cat. I absolutely love the little cute kind of you like kissing boys, don't you? But it's not a attack. It's like a little tease, a little playful tease. I think that's a much more healthy way to deal with things than how they typically were whenever I was coming up. So I'm happy when I see things like that. And of course, I had to get the one with the little joint. You like smoking weed, don't you? I like smoking. Okay, so here's some skin tones. They're looking good. Looking good. I'm getting pretty pleased with that. I'm thinking I will definitely do another Raglan Flesh Shade coat over them, but nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, I'm needing to try to come up with a schedule for streaming. I know that is something that I need to do, so I was going to try to work on that this weekend. I've been on a bit of time off. I've had bereavement leave due to a death in the family, which I wasn't really going to talk about. It's all good. It's whatever. So I've just been taking time for me. And today is the last day of that. So I've got today, I've got this weekend, and then I'm back to work. So, got the old regular 8 to 5. So I know I'm going to be streaming in the mornings when I normally do, except I'm going to try to wake up earlier and be here when I say that I am. Because, again, I'm not going to be able to stream like right now, normally. And then I'm thinking I'll probably have some time after work during the week, a day or two. A little streaming day. Condolences. Thank you. Thank you. I've had a lot of death this year. And the one that I am getting bereavement for currently, while it should probably be the one that bothers me the most, it doesn't bother me that much. Which sounds terrible, but the person should have been very close to me, but we do not have a relationship and never did by their choice. So I think they owe me 5 days of bereavement time, though, if the company's going to give it to me. So, uh, yeah, June, July, I lost my great aunt, who was always like my biggest like cheerleader of anything I did, no matter what. She was always very supportive, and that sent me reeling. And that's honestly, I mean, that's where these guys came from. But I'm not going to beat that dead horse. I've talked about that a lot. This is the reflection of like me looking inward and poking around on all the things I've found, regardless. Uh, but this more recent death has just made me think about the people that I lost in the past year, and why. Not totally get it. Lost my dad years ago, and I took one day because man was never really there. That's it. Like my dad, I didn't want to talk about him on stream because I didn't want to give him any attention. Because it's frustrating, I guess, to know that like I've given him more attention in this past week, thinking at all about him than he's given me in my life. He's not been around my life. Like I have like three memories of him, and the last one was when I was maybe six, maybe eight. But I mean that's like eight time. But yeah, I've not spoken or heard from my father in almost my entire life, other than when he was pretty much forced to by his mother, who was the only one that really had like any kind of like connection with like my family. Um, and when she passed away, I did not find out for like a week because she again was the only one I talked to on my dad's side of my family. So uh, that was a rough one. It made me think. That was like I think my first death was my grandmother on my dad's side. Made me think about some things. Um, I was not. I hope that's not true. My friend Dylan. My friend Dylan died. Uh, he was in a band that we were really good friends with. He was my first death experience. Then it would have been, yeah. All right, look at that skin. This is a real fun conversation. I'm going to go ahead and change the topic. We can talk about anything else because this is a really not just fun conversation for anyone to hear or listen to while I'm painting this awful penis demon. Sorry to hear that. Life sucks at times. We do our best to get through it. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Chris. I didn't mean to change the tone. Um, just heavy thoughts. Heavy thoughts. But I'm good. It's got me thinking. Sorry. It's had me thinking not about my dad. It's had me thinking about my buddy Ed. He passed away within 30 days of my great aunt, so I wasn't fully ready to grieve again when he passed. So there was a lot of grieving I didn't get to do, but I have been thinking a lot about that because Ed is the one that got me into Warhammer. Ed and Alan, my buddy Ed and Alan, those two. But Ed definitely was the one who really, I think, started getting all of our friends into Warhammer when we were in middle school. So uh, it was really I was really sad to see him go. But he and I had started playing a 30K campaign. Uh, that's where my Emperor's Children came in. So my Emperor's Children had claimed a space station, and his Dark Angels, essentially, due to the ruin storm, were just kind of like dumped out and just happened to come across this space station and are just like, okay, well, I see a third Legion ship here. We are just gonna pull up and try to get our bearings. So let's just establish some like contact with them. And once they do, like the third Legion is just like the exhibit is not ready. What are you doing? You're gonna have to wait like everybody else to see our art. Uh, and of course, being the first Legion, they're just like, whatever, we're coming in. And of course, when they get in there, they find the most horrifying things imaginable. Imagined just a bunch of nightmare art, Emperor's Children style body horror art. And that's the overarching story that Ed and I were working on. I'm mentioning this because it's been on my mind a lot lately, and it's made me think I really would like to revisit that and continue that story. So I reached out to his wife to see if he had left behind any notebooks or any documents about his characters, and where he was wanting to go with them, other than what he and I had previously talked about. But that is something that I think I want to do with my channel, with my hobby as a whole. That is an overarching project, along with like my demons. Uh, but would be continuing that narrative that my friend Ed and I had going on before he passed away. I think that would be a very good way to honor his memory. And also, I think the story was going to be fucking sick. So, and I think he would have dug it. I feel like I'm not really doing much. I feel like I've just mainly been talking, so I apologize about that. I gotta say though, the wood, the more and more the wood gets white on it, the more I. Oh, that sounds like a wonderful memory from your shared past. What's going to be closer for us? I think this is a great gesture and keeping him. Thank you, Chris. I think so. When I reached out to his wife, she did not respond immediately, which is I'm sure because she was probably emotional. But she did respond back and was very pleased and said that he also would really like it. So I was really excited about that. And I'm not going to get emotional. I'm a big old crybaby. I just have really intense emotions. I can't help it. So, all that said, let's put some more skin on this big boy. Boop, boop, boop. Beep, beep, beep. The delay between OBS and the stream mildly throws me off because I can kind of see it out of the corner of my eye that like the computer's not following what I'm doing. It's like a little bit behind. But be that as it may, I think we're doing fine. I think we're doing just fine. There it is again. I'm gonna figure out what that tune is. Like little blotches of white. They are so distracting. Like I definitely think that they like this. I love this, and I've realized that is absolutely from just my hand. It's my hand rubbing against that. Chris, I have not told you. So this. I meant to bring this up, and I mentioned it on the stream the past couple days, but you were not on here. But there are two blacks, so I use the. This is like the absolute abyssal black, the Musalo black. That's what I put in like the eyes of the one I made for Tim, and I put a lot of it on the big baby, and I put it on the Paramour's eyes. But a lot of this is Yasutomo traditional Chinese ink. And I completely forgot that is something that I had been putting on there, but I put it on the wood and I put it on the legs. It's got a very oily consistency, but that's the other black that I really use. I use a couple blacks, but as far as like that's not just a regular black, like that's like that's the void, the abyssal black. That stuff is like I think it is made, and this is what made me think about that. Is my wife also commented that it looked damn it, that it looked like charcoal. And I said, oh yeah, I think I'm pretty sure it is made from charcoal. And I said that, and I thought, I think Chris asked that same question. Was that the one you ordered 4 months ago? Or so this, the Yasutomo, I got this off of Amazon because I found a bottle at Hobby Lobby that is it's calligraphy ink. It's just traditional Chinese ink, and I went with ultra black because I was just trying to find. This is another one of the things that I purchased. I purchased this, and I purchased the Musso Black. Because it took 4 months for this to get here, and in 4 months I didn't want to wait 4 months for this, and then not know if it was going to be good. So I was buying everything that I could that was like, this is really black, and just playing around with them. And these are the two blacks that I use. Like, if you look at those, like, there's like one that's like insanely dark. It's so matte. That's this, and the rest is for the most part this Chinese ink, which is very. I love painting with it. It is abysmal to paint with. Like, if you're doing anything other than what I do, like how I'm using it, like, or calligraphy, but it's just because it reminds me of like motor oil. Like, just try to get them. It's so thick, but not thick, and like super glossy, but it absolutely, it dries and it has that charcoal kind of look, and I think that is because it is made of charcoal. If I am not mistaken, I do believe when I looked up, this is made from taking like straight charcoal and making it into an ink, which is why it's so intense. Yes, I absolutely can do that. But I got that off of Amazon, and it also was, again, very reasonably priced. There's just, I'm not dunking on Stuart Simple because, like, oh yeah, screw them. It's just more of like, I get being an artist and having other stuff going on, but like, it's like a business. Like, you can't do that as a business. So that's why I'm like, I don't think they're like a business. I think they're just an artist that sells things sometimes. But that's fine. But let me get the link for that, because Yasutomo traditional Chinese ink. All right, $10. I will paste this in the. Oh no. I'll paste this in the. Okay. I will paste this in the. Oh no. I'll paste this in the. Okay. Can I not get into the chat on here? I need a link for it, please. What's that metric? I'm gonna have to look this up on my actual app. It's metric. I'm really bad at metrics. So here's this. Okay. Chat. Aha. I think I did it. Maybe. Wait a minute. I think the link's too long. Maybe. Oh, $10 metric. I get it now. Why can't I copy this and paste it? Get in there. I don't understand why I can't put this in the chat, but I'm just going to send this to you on Instagram, Chris. I'm sorry. Uh, that is crazy. There's no way that is the link correctly. Okay, I've sent that to you on Instagram. Probably an auto mod. Maybe. Okay. Yeah, I can't. Why the heck can't I respond to my own chat? This is crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, I did it. I sent the thing. If you could figure out a way to post that way, Possum can also know it. That would be good. I'm not able to do that. I'm really frustrated by that. But I need to focus. This is black. It's going on this on the horns. Where it done come out. I'm not being the neatest. I'm not being the messiest. I want to touch up this. Poured some of that out, so I'm just going to use it real quick. Then I'll get back to what I was doing. I can remember what that was. I think it was probably dealing with this red flesh tone, because that seems like something that I need to deal with. I think it needs a little more red, a little more intense. And then, yeah. And I also have some of the, I think it's called Blink, but it's like, yay, no problem. I think it is the Black 4.0, like as a ink, or maybe it's like 3.0. It's the Stuart Simple, the ink. I haven't tried it yet though. Um, I think I just had enough things that I was messing with when it came in. I didn't really want to try to be like, okay, this is the fourth black. That is an option. Uh, let's see how this goes. But work is done. You gonna be streaming for a while? Need something to fall asleep to? Yeah, I'm gonna be here. I will be here. I don't have anything else going on today other than chilling, working on this, and then anything else that I can remember that I was supposed to do. But I will be here for a while. Just working on this. This guy needs to get finished. I think I've made a lot of progress on it though. Oof. Yeah. Maybe it's Smurfs. I don't know. I watched that a lot as a kid. I feel like it's got to be some deep rooted melody. Hmm. It's always very quiet when I'm not talking because I don't have any sound in the room. Because I don't know if I'm allowed to have like music playing or if that will get me canceled on YouTube. There's just a lot of rules I don't know. And then it's just like, well, if you have the rights to it, then it's just like, okay, well, I can put a bunch of music that I made up, but then it's just like, you know, look at Eli, his big head, always listening to his own jams. Hmm. Yeah. All right, I've almost used all this ink. So, ink back to the skin we go. Back to the skin. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fortunately, it will get DMCA'd. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that if I had music on, it would have to be something that I owned the rights to, or YouTube would shut me down. And then I started to think about that, and I was like, man, I wonder if they would even know. I bet I have to argue it. Like, I own the rights to a song if it's something that like I've made. That seems like how it would probably work. I'm thinking that is because now I remember Nick, Modern Synthesis, was specifically wanting uh, tracks, like to pay for tracks that he owned the rights to so he could use them. So that's not me like he's trying to buy people's music. It's more of like when he hit me up to make music, he was like, hey, I want to use it. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. No worries. But yeah, so yeah, if I'm not here painting, I might be doing that. I might be making music because I need some music. Uh, I've got a couple things. There are playlists out there of royalty free stuff you can use. Though. Oh, that's cool. That makes sense. And there's a face only a mother could love, and maybe me. I don't love you. I'm just kidding. Hmm. Yeah. That's skin, all right. Keep forgetting about my coffee. Mm, okay. Bunch of little cat hairs down here. Probably from my buddy or the air. Okay. Waking up. Waking up, waking up, waking up. Thinking this arm. Even some skin tones on that arm. Then I need to get back into body. I need to deal with the cage and the hair. It's nasty looking. And I'm still trying to debate on the eye. I know I want to have some kind of like gloss over the eye, but I'm not sure if I want to go with a an acrylic, like a resin, or something was ringing. And I gotta go back to paint these. Just trying to get the textures down before I start adding in the overarching, like kind of liquid effects, kind of gore, because it's gonna soak all of the things. Same thing with dirt. like weathering. I'll include gore with weathering. This is just like the pre-shading gore that I'm doing now. I would consider. So I'm just gonna hit this right here. Just trying to find the higher raised spots, bring them up a little bit more, or in particular anything that I see that's spider webbing that looks really good. I'm not going for purely anatomical correct, like kind of. That's not what I'm looking for. It doesn't need to look like, oh, that's where the muscles are, because this thing's not real. But I will say on that note, as far as designing creatures and stuff, that plays a huge fact into how something is perceived, as far as if it is frightening or not, is trying to balance. If the musculature is so wonky that it just looks wrong, then you can't really sell the illusion that you're trying to pass. And it's one of those things that's just like, man, I'm sure someone could probably come up with like, oh, here's what you need to do to make that not the case. But I don't know how to specify it any better verbally. It's more, that's too much. It's more of a when you know that that's good. If that makes sense. It's probably just like rambling. But yeah, it's more of just a feel. Just going over very lightly, very thin coats, layering skin, building up skin in layers like it is on a body. And the more that we can mirror real anatomy, the more likely you can twist it and make it look wrong easier. I think the more you lean to the realistic parts of it, to where like, okay, you can tell there's muscle under that skin. There is, you can add some believability to it. Depth maybe is a good word. Presence, depth. Adding that is, I think, a big part of selling your models, or your art, your work, anything. And I think that the more you sell that, the things that you do to make the horror come through better. The more realistic it seems. It's like the juxtaposition almost. Trying to like make something relatable, even in like the loosest way. It's like I can't relate to this giant penis monster, but you've seen the skin, you've seen muscles, the human skull. Trying to bring that in. I think horror is perpetually just us trying to cope with our fears in a safe way. So, and I think that we are afraid of things that we can like really identify, but also not understand. So it's like you need to be able to recognize partially, but there still needs to be mystery, which also goes into like my own beliefs in horror movies, or stories, anything. I think that the less you show, the more you show. Which I realize that this sounds kind of goofy, coming from this giant body horror thing, but I did actually have that exact same mentality when I was making these, which is why this one, its head is covered. This was not going to be a big penis. It looks very much like it, but there was going to be a face under here. And there is a mouth guard that's shoved in to its mouth that's like pulling it back, so it's like eyes are smashed into this dome. And initially it was going to be clear, so you could see that. But I did not have time to paint all of that, and I was not confident. And then at the end of the day, the main thing was I don't know how that would be feasibly possible, like from like a real world standpoint. Like this demon, why would it have like a see through like plexiglass like covering on its face? That just didn't strike me as very demonic. It was too man man made, too of man. Uh, so that's definitely a tangent of mine. Just listen to me babble about horror thoughts. My little horror babble. Horror babble is like a YouTube channel or podcast. I don't remember. I want to say it's a YouTube channel though, but they do horror lit readings, and I would recommend them. I'm a big fan. Um, I'm liking that. These flesh tones are really unpleasant. Really starting to just like ooh, ooh. Also, I am just kind of sinking into the. Did Possum say that they were going to fall asleep to me doing this? That might not be good for your like brain. I don't know. I'm not saying that I'm not good for your brain. I'm not saying I am though. But I do have a lot of interesting facts I could tell you things. Uh, I don't know what I really would cover them. I think in a previous stream we discussed the term beaver and merkin, the origins of them, which is all very related. Hell yeah, brother, just got home. Possum, you're crazy. You're gonna go to sleep, listen to me. Crazy. You're gonna turn into a psycho. I am a mom against Redwood Skeleton. He's turning my boys into weirdos. That's what I would say at the meeting. About to crawl into bed. Hell yeah, brother. Just gotta snuggle up into bed. That's an idea for us, like a video I could do. I could just do possum bedtime stories. Gonna even put you on the big screen. Oh hell yeah! I'm on the big screen now. That's a that's a fun thing I could do for my channel. Is I have a very specific video that I do. It's just it's the possum sleepy time section where I just make a video for you to go to sleep to. I did have discussion with my wife about not that, but kind of like that, where it was just the man. There's just like the internet gives you the opportunity to do all kinds of stuff, and it's just like yeah, I could definitely see. I could see how you could get involved in doing things you didn't really think you were gonna do. It's just like I made the joke about OnlyFans, and it's just like someone said, I mean, show me your feet. And I'm like, I mean, I don't really want to, but okay, that's a joke. I'm not going to do OnlyFans. Also, I have like a second-degree burn on my foot now, so I feel like I don't know the logistics. If any of you do, you can tell me. Let me know if the second-degree scar on my foot will hurt my OnlyFans foot page or if it will help. I would think that it would help because it makes me more unique. That if either of you are into foot stuff, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shame anybody's vibes. I'm very pro whatever vibes you like. Other than being Nazi. Again, that's a given. Yeah, I work nights on the West Coast, so you stream about my last break. Cool. West Coast. Okay. Yeah, so for a while, Adam lived out on the West Coast. So would always have to. That's why the stream was always so late. These claws, I'm sorry, I'm sure they have to sound terrible. But these claws, when they touch that tape, oof, that's a screech. That's a screech. That's 10 on 10. 10 on 10 screech. All right. So we got the skin. We got the horns. We got these tentacles. Skin's looking good. I'm getting pretty pleased with that. I'm getting pretty pleased with that too. That's pretty gnarly. It's mainly trying to make it look like skin is just like super tight, but also just perpetually being like flogged and never actually healing. I wanted it to look like it was just very not taken care of for. Just like, oh, that looked like it got infected and you never did anything with it. And then got infected again and again. Yeah, I want it to be a very slothing, almost like what I imagine the physical manifestation of syphilis to be, is kind of what this guy is. Which, with that said, I could see a lot of people being like, yeah, that's why everyone's just like, oh, Nurgle. And it's just like, yeah, I mean, technically. Syphilis is so scary. When I was in middle school, no, this wasn't middle school, it was high school, but when I was in health class, and we had to watch the videos where they show you all the horrible pictures of all the STDs to try to scare you into not banging. And our teacher, he was the coach. He was a basketball coach. So, of course, he's not actually teaching health. He's just required to. He's actually just sitting at his table reading the newspaper. He's just a coach. So the teacher, one of the assignments, we had to turn our assignments in, he would grade them. One of the questions on there was, how do you cure gonorrhea? And to show you how much of my school system is just like, yeah, they don't give a shit, I wrote axe. And I got that question right. Axe as in you cut it off. And he was just like, yep. If you're out there trying to cure gonorrhea and you stumble upon this stream, that's not how you cure it. I don't think. I don't know. Ooh, the skin's so pasty. Like a pasty baby. That's looking really unpleasant. I'm really pleased with that. Look like it got peppered. Oh, was I holding it where you can't see it? No, you can't see it. Man, I gotta tape this thing off. I need to really. That's the thing I'm gonna be doing today. Is probably getting this better. possum's thinking about something, but I don't know what it is. I gotta say, thanks again for watching this, because I hope that it's entertaining for you guys. I feel like I'm just babbling, and I'm a babbler, so I know it's probably true. Yeah, those skin tones, I'm really liking them. Think of well that nice creams dry for a little bit. Nice cream. This definitely needs some on the bottom. I'm thinking, so the very bottom is probably going to get a lot of mud splattered up on it from me crawling around all the time. I really enjoyed that part of it, babbling with Hobby. Okay, well, if that's good, then we're good. Because I'm a yapper, certified. And I keep moving my head with my lamp. I thought about putting my head on, because then I would do that, but then I'd probably boop the lamp a lot more. Alrighty. So, we have a little hair. We gotta try to get real in here and look at it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, needs a little more around here. So that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, this paper has just absorbed so much of the paint, so it's just like, I don't know how much is actually on my brush. Probably a lot. Nope, not too much. Trying to get an angle there on this guy. I think I'm painting on the part that I'm not trying to. Have you thought about glazing some blue on the skin to give illusion of veins? Yes. Yeah. So that's I have thought about that, and I also on the very first stream I set this aside. There. So this is a bunch of hair that I have been soaking in blue ink. So I was planning on kind of running these around on it to like kind of actually get some little veins stuck on there. Same thing with this. I'm trying to remember what this is. It's the same stuff that I put on the body. Lichen. So this is lichen that has also been soaking in blue ink. So I've got hair and lichen that I've been soaking in this blue ink for a hot minute that I was going to try and loosely drape in certain spots. And then I've also got some that were soaking in black ink. But yeah, I definitely did plan on some very light, like glazing with blue as well. I just wanted to get the red in first because I think that the blue will be a lot harder to kind of like pop back in and like kind of correct, because like a lot of it is wash, dry brush, wet brush, wash, wet brush. So the blue is just such a different from the red. I wanted to get one of the tones down, and then I think I'm gonna move into the other. But I do think that we're like pretty much there. And it's got some. I feel like it's got some bluish tones to it already, which I'm not fully sure on. but they might just be the gray. And thank you. I'm excited. Hopefully, this doesn't turn out terrible, but I'm excited to see what they will look like. I kind of want to see now. It's just if it's not crazy if it works. That is true. That is true. Alrighty. Yeah, the lichen was the one that I was really hoping to see how that turns out. I say it's ink, so it's like very intense in there. But I think it's just gonna look like blue lichen, and that's all right. Probably smear a little bit, but yeah, that'll look good. That's gonna look, yeah. So having these kinds of things kind of spackled around on it was something that I really wanted. So yeah, I think that was a good call. And I think I don't really need to soak them anymore. Well, that kind of led to a fun little discovery. So by soaking them, now they are like shaped, or now they're colored. So you can kind of see that I now have like a outline, an outline of this, where it was kind of sitting there. It's very delicate blue. Okay, so I'm gonna get these out of the ink so they're not just soaking in it. Because I do want them to dry. I just wanted them to be blue. But yep, not crazy. Cool, cool. All right. Looks like it worked, boys. So getting these out of here. Huzzah. My crazy harebrained scheme turned out to not be crazy. You hear that, Margot? We're not crazy. Certified, not an insane person. By a real doctor. No, that's true. It's an ongoing joke in our house that Margot impersonates a doctor often. It's an ongoing joke in the house that Margot has a lot of illegal dealings. She's like a real kingpin kind of character. Typically, tricking her younger brother, her older brother, her middleest brother, into falling for her ruses. Man, I got ink all over me. Kept not Ford Mustang. Was the other stuff car hair? So this is Barbie hair. Yeah. Not to be confused with cat hair. This is just Barbie hair. I keep some Barbie hair on stack from the Barbies that I have turned into things. But yeah, Barbie hair. I use Barbie hair a good amount. It's more readily available than my own hair, and it's straight. This was blonde, so I knew it would take the ink really well, which it did. Feeling like I can just put this ink back in that bottle, to be honest. And I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to save that ink. Oh no, which ink did I use? It was probably turquoise deep. It was definitely turquoise deep. I'm just gonna. That's the sound that it made. Go to sleep, possum. Sleep. Red White Skulls, bedtime stories. Would you like to hear a bedtime story that I told my wife? It's not really a bedtime story, it's just a scary thing. I like to. Obviously, scary things just kind of pop in my head all the time. But one of the things that I like to talk about when I'm laying in bed, I've got a lot of little doors, like on my studio and on our bedroom. We have little doors for the cats to come in that look like little French doors. So we can close the door at night, but the cats can still get in and out as they see fit. So I was telling her, I was like, it's kind of like the difference between a goblin and a greeblin and a gerblin. Because like a gerblin would be like a real silly kind of goblin. Like it's just like he's real like derpy, like wow. Uh, that would be a gerblin, real goofy, like yeah, you little goofy gerblin. A greeblin would be the opposite. So like if goblin is like the baseline, gerblin is goofy. Greeblin is not goofy, so it's scary. So I was thinking that it would be much closer to like the Merkborg goblins, like Goblin Shark, like real long, pulled back face, real long hands. At one point in time, it was part of my middle son Oliver's lore that he actually was an alien wearing a cat as a suit, and that when we're not looking, he takes it off and walks around the house. And I said that he looks a lot like he does, just like pale, but really long. And then when we're not home, he pets Theo and he says meow, 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 meow. Uh, so that's a fun story there. I don't remember why I started telling you that. It had to do with something. Oh boy, look at these new mats we've got though. Bam, new mats. I said they wanted more mats. I said more mats, more mats, more mats. Here you go. Bam. I feel like I've wasted a lot of ink doing that. In hindsight, did not need anywhere near as much. But hindsight is 2020. You don't get an award for knowing what happened last week. Tidbits of wisdom. Wonderful bedtime story. 10 out of 10. Thank you. The Gerblin, the Greeblin, that's what it was. I told my wife that I was like, it's like a goblin, but way creepier. He has really long legs and arms, and his fingers are really long. So a lot like the Paramore, but with skin. And I would tell her that the worst thing is just like when you wake up in the middle of the night and you look over and you see that its hand is like reaching through the cat door, like, but it's like 8 feet from like the door to our bed. So I'm just like, I just hate when I wake up and it's like almost getting ready to touch me because its arm is so long. It's just getting ready to start touching my face while I'm sleeping. And that's a story about gremlins. I'm pleased. I'm pleased with these life choices that I made to soak these in ink. That was a good idea, Eli. I don't think I was sober when I came up with it. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you this. Not sober me is a crazy person that comes up with wild ideas and is honestly responsible for all of this. But gotta hand it to them. They know what's up. I'll let them cook. Just like send myself out. And just like give me a problem. Just there's a note. And just says just let them cook. Sober. I absolutely have left myself messages between states. That's a fun thing. Man, I didn't dry that off enough. I'm going to get blue ink all in there, and then I'm going to have to wipe it off. Yeah, that was way more ink than I intended to put in there. It's fine. It's fine. Well, probably going to be using that for putting blue stuff in. And the black stuff. Now, I don't know what ink this is. This could be the traditional Chinese ultra black ink, or it could be Windsor and Newton Black Indian ink, or it could be Citadel's black ink from shit. What was that, 19? And this might have been like a 99 or 2000. This was made in France. Those bottles are all right. They're all right. Flesh wash. Now that's a fun ink. If anyone knows what is close to that, I'd love to know. Um, it's a weird ink. Hmm. It's 9:46. Hmm. Oof. Okay, yeah, this is the Chinese traditional ink. Uh, it's pretty. It looks pretty clunky. This was. I'm happy. I'm happy with these choices. These were good ideas. Ooh, yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Got our black veins. We got our blue veins. Yeah, that looks way more watery. That's. Looks like they did not stain it as much, but I also think I used red as opposed to I think the blue I put white in. So I knew that it would take the stain easier, or the ink. This, I had a feeling it wouldn't stain it as much, but I did want the red to show through because I think having the black and the red mixing one way or the other is good. It's a good visual. I tried to keep it going with the legs. I think that's everything in here. It's very dark. I think I got it all. All right. We have the technology. Alrighty, so now that we've got our blue hair and blue stuff out there, and we got our black hair and our black stuff out there, and that's drying off. We already told us bedtime story, possibly loved it. Uh, what else is on the list of things to do? Finish frustration. That's going to be a longer thing, but I don't think we're going to get that done today. Boop, boop, boop. Okay, now that did not take the black as well, but not bad. Like it's still, it'll look okay. I just need that to kind of, yeah, we're gonna let that dry. You can dry over there. Do the old air dry. Those are gonna look good. I'm excited. I'm liking the way that they look. Just black lichen. Looks like veins. And then the hair, I think, will definitely be good. And I realize now that I could have just used my own hair because I have black hair, but I didn't think about that. I am going to step away. I forgot. And probably it's 9:49. I mean, I might as well grab a Coke Zero. Uh, so I think that's what I'm going to do. Zero. Uh, let me see. Oh shit. Apparently my wife's computers don't work at work, so. All right. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'll be right back. Beep, beep, beep. I didn't even show up. Let's go. I forgot my coffee mug. All right. Well, in our trauma part, I had a nosebleed, so that's fun. Beep boop bop. And I got a bunch of blue ink on my hands. But I had that on there before I left. Cat memes. You gotta stay the hell out of my life right now. I got stuff I got to do today. Starting with turning this guy into a little monster. I'm just kidding. Okay, so these are really distracting. I've been trying to fight off a cough. I'm gonna go cough. It's just a touch of the consumption. Don't mind it. Okay. Do I want to mess with that eye? Do I want to hit up? I think I want to go back into these nasty flower parts here. I kind of want to hit them a little bit. Unfortunately, this thing is so big that the whole idea with painting the rest of them, I did them very much in batch painting like style. That's batch building, batch painting. Like I did everything in like order. Like with the spackling, like a bunch of them are covered in that spackling because I knew I could sculpt it on there really quick. And then they would just be sanded. So it was just like build, 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 spackle, 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 sand, 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 paint, 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 paint. One color at a time, just batch painting. So it's just like now with this guy, we're past that stage, and I've found like the skin to now actually what the skin should look like what I had planned on it kind of looking like. And I've gone in and I've added that detail. And I do think part of me wants to put some more very small beads in between these, but I can do that when I'm at with the paint. I'll do that with the paint. And in fact, I don't know, some of these I'm kind of curious. I love micro beads. They're just so good for adding texture. But I just got these in yesterday. That's what came in this box. I like getting little boxes. So I'll scooch time. Man, I'm gonna be real. Honestly, I don't even know. I think I have this just out of habit, but I don't use this as a cutting mat 9 times out of 10. 9 times out of 10, I use my hands as a back cut, which is why I have fucked up fingers. And I don't have I can feel the skin on my fingers at all times, which I don't know if that's a normal thing. But I feel like I could feel the tips because of the deadness, if that makes sense. I only started to notice it after I started paying attention. After the only bone I've broken is I blew this bone into 6 pieces. I was getting ready to go. If you've heard the story, I'm sorry, but I was getting ready to be on a stream with the wires. Or we were going to have a chat about, shit, I don't know, this has been years, but I was getting ready to be on the stream with the wires, and I was just like, oh, okay, I gotta take the trash out and roll it out to the street real quick. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then I'm gonna hop on the chat, and I'm good to go. And I run outside, and it's in the dark, and we have these very large street style trash cans, like, they open one end like that, where here's the handle. The handle's on this side. It opens like that. Wheels down here. I run and I grab it. The lights are out in my garage, and I don't turn them on, that is number one dumb. That's dumb. So I run out there in the lights, don't turn the lights on, and I've got the trash. I reach over the front and I grab the lid to pull it open, and I throw the trash in, push the lid back, and I grab the handle and I start to pull it out, like all in one motion. I'm hurrying. I don't want to keep the brothers waiting. So I overshoot the handle where you grab the trash can, and my ring finger goes into the part of the trash can that now is like where the fulcrum is. So all of the pressure and the weight of that lid, which it doesn't weigh a lot, but all of it is on these 2 points, like all that pressure. So when it goes down, it's just like the entire weight of that. It blew that bone, the pressure. It just shattered that bone into like 7 pieces. Which I'll post a picture of that. I've got a picture. It's pretty cool. But I instantly, I almost blacked out. I was just like, and I can't see anything because the lights are off because I'm an idiot and I didn't turn them on. And I'm just like, oh God, I can't see anything. And eventually I finally get my other hand up and I'm able to open it and pull my hand out. I'm like, oh, I drag the can out and I go inside and I tell my wife, I'm like, I smashed my finger really bad. And she was just like, oh, I'm sorry, babe. She's gotten in bed. She's getting ready to go to sleep. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to get on my call with the wires. Night. Love you. And I go and I get on the call with the wires and I talk to them for 2.5 hours. And then at the very end, I'm like, yeah, sorry if I feel like I haven't talked as much as I normally do. I smashed my finger right before I got the call, and I hold it up, and all 3 of them just go, "Oh, it's broken," because it was black and it looked like a balloon, it was just hanging down. And I was like, I mean, I can bend it, and when I bend it, they're all just like, "Oh." But yeah, I went to bed. I slept on it. And I was like, nah, it's fine. It's fine. I've never broken a bone, so I don't know. I'm also just, I don't know. I probably could have just lived with it broken. But the next morning I showed my wife, I was like, yeah, my finger, I don't know if it's supposed to look like this, but I don't think it looks good. The wire said it might be broken, and I showed it to her, and she was just like, oh my God. That immediately she was like, yes, that is so broken. She was like, why didn't you show me this last night? Your finger is the size of your thumb. Actually bigger and black. Just black. So that was fun. Anyway, don't blow your bones off. Or do. I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. I'm not a fascist. But as a friend, don't blow your bones off. So these are all different little size micro beads. And when I ordered them, I didn't really think about millimeters. And I was like, oh, those are going to be bigger than I think they are. They're not. So I initially ordered them in hopes that they would be good eyes to put in here because I yearn for more distractions. I don't want to finish anything. So I ordered them and they're not what I thought they were, which I could be upset, but I like beads. And I've got a bunch of other micro beads, so that just makes my assortment more diverse now. I'm going to have to bust out the old calipers and find out what size these are. But once I do that, I'll get them sorted, organized, little cups with the rest of the group. And then I'll order some bigger ones that could be used as eyeballs and whatnot. So, my fingernails, my hands are filthy. These hands, these filthy hands. Do you have any idea what these hands have done for this money? So Quincy Endicott there for you. One of my favorite characters from Over the Garden Wall, which is one of my favorite little series. Love that. I really like Endicott though. There's something that I have always found very relatable to about being an old dude in a mansion going insane over time. Uh, I feel like that's my calling. Uh, I don't know. I think I was just supposed to be like the thing that lived up on the hill in a big house that everybody was afraid of. I think that's what I was supposed to be. But, you can't choose your dad. You can choose your daddy. I think we're going to do a little. I'm going to be really gross. I'm going to check if this nosebleed of mine has stopped yet. So I'm going to step away for a second and I might come back immediately, less bloody, less tissue in my nose, or I might come back later with another different tissue, way more bloody. I'll be back. Hey! Not too bad. Oh, God, no. Oh, there's so much blood. So, yeah, I'm good. I just realized that I have something that I've never shown on stream before that I think will probably set the tone. I've mentioned that I had some guys build something in my house, and my wife was like, hide all the witchy shit. This is what she meant. So I have a large amount of roots and plants, and that's a squirrel tail. That's not related. Um, but I have a large amount of roots and stuff that I have hanging because this is kind of the best way to store roots and branches because they'll break if you bump into them, so you can't like throw them in a box. But this was what she was like, yeah, don't let that just be hanging from the ceiling when they come, or they're going to think you're a crazy person. So I put that up, but I didn't hide all the satanic shit, so they still thought I was a crazy person. I also still had my Believe in Yourself Blackcraft hoodie on, which I'm not personally familiar with. It was my cousin's. After he passed, his sister gave it to me. He's the one I have that big tattoo for. So I love that hoodie. But it's got a big fucking pentagram on it. So, of course, I'm not thinking anything about it. It's just a hoodie I wear all the time. It's comfortable. But I've got this giant pentagram. There's these really satanic like monsters on my table, feet from where they're putting together this couch. I did hide the witchy shit, and I hid the parts of the baby that I used on the child inverted. That was hidden, but I didn't hide all of the shit. So, but yeah, they stopped talking in English the moment we came down into the basement, which was only really funny to me afterwards because like the whole time I was like, man, I thought we were doing good. Like we had a good rapport. We were talking. We went downstairs and it just got real formal and he just started talking only in Spanish to the other guy. And then eventually hours later they left. And that's when I realized, oh shit, I left all the really satanic stuff. So I find that really funny. It's a fun story. The moral of the story is be witchy. Be gay, do crime. Man, oh man. They changed to Latin. Well, it was Spanish. Spanish, Latin. Spanish. I believe Spanish is the correct. Yeah, they were Hispanic. I can't tell if I think one of the studs that I'm not talking about the guys. That would have been funny though. One of the studs that I've used in here to pin this guy to this, I think sticks out further. That no, it's this horn. Okay, well, do I want to? Is it the horn? Is it the horn though? I can't tell. This isn't even smooth. It's not even. It doesn't matter. That's what I'm getting at. It's not what I was getting at. No. I just realized you can totally see that nutcracker in the background. He looks ominous. He was at Hobby Lobby for $4. I thought he was going to be 10, but he was on clearance for $4. He only has one arm. He lost his right arm in the war. My road, no! Hey, he lost his arm in the war. So I'm gonna fix him up, and I'm gonna give him to my mom for Christmas because my mom. Oh yeah, also this is broken, which that's an easy fix. I don't think I've ever posted. I don't think I've posted pictures of any of the other shit I've made that's not Warhammer related. Hey Marco, hey princess. But I like to build. Oh, I just like to build things. But yeah, I built previously. I built a nutcracker for my mom. She collects nutcrackers a lot. But I built a nutcracker that was a cat that looked like a little calico kitty. Hey, where are you? I can hear you, but I can't see you. Okay. If you want to come hang out with us, there's people on the stream. They love to hear from you. Now she's coming. She says, well, you didn't tell me we were streaming. Well, here, I'm going to get a little bit of parchment paper. Okay. Put my says, got a lot to say. Where did you go? Girl, you are just always on the run. You can't pin that one down. I tell you what. She's always on the run. She don't need no man. Just one man. Me? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Marco. Why do you pick this off? That has to be terrible audio. I'm sorry. Okay. Where are you now? This is a good chunk of my life. So I work from home Monday, Thursday, and Friday. I'm in the office Tuesday and Wednesday. When I am actually working, a good chunk of my day is sitting at my desk and being screamed at like that upstairs. Hey. Hey. Would you like to come sit with us? You would? Would you like to sit in my lap while we paint this awful penis monster? Does that sound good? Okay then. I'll pick you up. Come along, my child. Shh. It's okay, Marco. Girl, you gotta quit your wiggling. This is dry, right? I don't want to turn you blue. Blue Margot. She sweeps beneath the lasers. What you think about that, Margot? Gotta get real good. Wait a minute. Have I opened this one yet? No. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to take this part out, but I have been. I feel like it clogged on the other one where I didn't. I know this one is supposed to come. What would have been another yellow I was using? There is a. Just got paint on my fingers. Stop it. Tweezers. Man, I feel like this stream has the potential to turn into, for you guys, kind of what like Christmas is for me when I get to like watch little kids like struggle to do very basic things. And then I'm like, man, look at them. They're so dumb. You don't know nothing. I'm just kidding. I don't really think they're dumb. It's more just like, man, look at you go. You're just trying to figure life out, huh, bud? You just don't understand those things. Specifically, my wife, one of her cousins, has, I guess, my niece, nephew. One of them has a child that, man, this kid, there's just something they do every year that I'm like, man, I love watching you try to figure it out, bud. But one year, I remember I spent a good amount of time trying to watch this kid eat a bunch of like little sausages, like little barbecue sausages with. It's one of those like forks that's very clearly supposed to be a toothpick. Like it's like for holding a weenie, but he kept trying to reuse it like it was a fork, and man, he was just. It was one of those things where it's just like I really understood when someone's like, he's got heart. It's just like, yeah, he's never gonna fucking get that. Like he's doing a really bad job. I don't want him to quit though. He's got heart. I want it to work. I want it to work for him, even though it never, ever will. And that's a little thought that just popped into my head while I'm sitting here, jumbo in my lap, painting these awful things. I don't know if you guys see what I'm painting here. I'm so afraid to try to change the angle. But I'll hold it like this. That's probably better. No, Margot. That's why I didn't. I was trying to remember. I knew it. Like I knew it. I feel like it's gonna be like the Smurfs, which I haven't watched that show. And I don't know, but I feel like it's probably like a show that existed on TV at a time that my brain was developing, and that was just like that'll be good old music. Grab that, Command C, and we'll just save that in Notebook for 36 years. There we go. Done. That's what I'm thinking. But I could be wrong. Yellow. Higher the hair, closer to Jesus. Now we're real close. Oh no, that picked something up. Well, to those of you that are watching this, I appreciate your company. If there are any questions, any topics you'd like me to babble about, I'd be happy to. until then, I'll just probably just keep going on off the dome. Which mainly is adding a little bit of yellow. I'm thinking this needs some ink though. I'm thinking it needs some burnt sienna. I'm thinking that would really kind of gross it up. I think it needs a very stark. That's good. So definitely want to keep that bright top of those veins. It's going to look really not pleasant, especially when that chestnut kind of tone of the transparent burnt sienna. I think I already mentioned that, but this is according to the internet, and I will say based on my studies, is the closest thing that I have found to the old Citadel chestnut ink, which I absolutely loved. But it I definitely used it on here, and I'll definitely will use more on it. But I think I'm definitely going to hit this area over here with it quite liberally. Maybe here in the next little bit, but I'm already getting excited thinking about how awful this yellow is going to look with the very dark, deep red brown from that ink. It's going to look very much like we have opened something up. If it does what I'm thinking it does, or it will do. Yeah, that yellow is just what we needed. Yeah. So hopefully it's going to do some really nasty things when we hit it with that ink. And a lot of the gray that you can kind of see back there, the primer and stuff. I'm going to kind of hope that this ink fix that. Are you going to be going to UTD? I am. My wife and I are. We decided we kind of just wanted to do one, as opposed to Adepticon and Under the Dice, and we are set on doing Under the Dice, so we will both be there. Not sure what all we'll be getting into. I have already thrown off my gauntlet in the Nemo Discord and said that I was going to quote unquote sleaze my way to the top, and I'm still going to. I don't know if I'm going to be, if I'm actually committed yet to making a Mordheim warband, but I really want to. I've never made a Mordheim warband for myself. I've made a model for Eric. I made his vampire, and I have played an obscene amount of Mordheim for PS4 or PS3, whichever one it came out for. I played so much of that game, and it is, I guess, a testament to the absolute masochist that I am as a human, because that game and Blood Bowl specifically, like, if you play those, you like getting hurt, I think. Like, there's something wrong about you that you're just like, yeah, I like it when I get hurt, because that's all those games are. There's so many characters that, like, I've had in Blood Bowl that's just like, man, I put so much time into it. And then they go to, like, catch the ball, like someone's throwing it, and they run and run and run, and they slip, and they fall, and they die, and they're dead forever. And it's just like, that was a lot of time. But there's something about that I like. And it's the same thing with Mordheim. And I think that that's trying to explain to my wife about Mordheim. About the big thing about it is the campaign play, I think, and how over time these characters develop, which is what I think is so amazing about role-playing games. And I think it's really cool when you can kind of segment off parts of yourself intentionally to have a different personality to kind of play around in. I think that's a fun thing. And that's kind of like the whole same concept. Again, losing train of thought while I'm rambling. Oof. I'm happy with that. I think it's going to look good in my head with ink, which will be here in a couple seconds. Beep, beep, beep. Oh, I was talking about more times. No, I built a vampire for Eric. I made something else. Develop or degrade. Maybe? Perhaps. I don't know. Degrade. I like degrade. I don't know. I'm very much thinking I want to make a Mordheim Warband. I'm thinking that I gotta get a napkin. That's gross. That's gray water. Not literally gray water. That's disgusting. But you know, gray water holds fun. Hey, this is a challenge to all them hive scum boys. I tell you, you ain't crusty unless you use gray water to paint with. You heard it here. I'm calling them out. They try to pretend like they're all punk. They ain't punk. You ain't using gray water. Neither am I. And I'm back with clean water. Don't hate me because I'm clean. I'm wondering if it's dry enough. I don't want to put that ink on there and then not be dry, but it looks pretty dry to me. But I'm not a gambling man. So I'm probably going to move somewhere else again. I keep getting this caught beneath there. Huh. I will say that I've definitely been on the fence for email this year. It seems like there might be too many people. That was one of my thoughts as well. I love my Wood Elf team that lasted so long until their owner got an armored down injury. And after that, he was just everyone's time. Was trying to keep him safe. That's Blood Bowl. I like that. I like I guess when Blood Bowl, it's just like I like when someone builds a game and they see that things like that can happen, and instead of being like, "Oh, we don't want that to happen," like they lean into it. I think that that's very. There's something very funny about that to me, like in a very awful way. But it's also probably just because I've been using humor to cope with every situation of my life forever. So yeah, I find I love Blood Bowl and Mordheim. I think like Eric summed it up talking about his experience with Mordheim, where he was like, my vampire was awesome. He kicked so much ass. And then at the end of the game, he decided to crawl into a well and fell and died. And it's just like, I love a game that your main character, the vampire, it's like, they made a game that it's possible to commit like the ultimate like crime in like a movie like franchise, like killing the main character off screen. It's just like I like that that's a thing that can happen in the Fools. That's fun from a like get you in the setting of like how bad Mordheim is. You know, everyone just doesn't matter. I think it's waited long enough. I've waited long enough. You all have waited long enough. I think it's time we give the people what they want. They want the ink. They crave the ink. I know I do. Where's it gonna go though? I'm thinking probably there. I want it to go somewhere low. So I'm trying to pretty much drag it to the places that I want it. Oh. Okay. I'm going to have to touch a couple of these spots up more. That's for sure. But I think they are good. I'm just going to play around here. Got my hands moving all crazy fast. Trying not to bump into stuff. Doing my best. Any specific warband you're leaning towards for more time? Surprise, you found me. I found you. I did. So I was initially. There are two that was very much like, okay, it's going to be one of these two. And I'm sure part of me is just like, people are going to be like, we saw that coming, but maybe not. The Cult of the Possessed and the Carnival of Chaos were the two. Initially, I was really hard set on the Carnival of Chaos. I think I could do a really interesting and fun job on that. Fun take. I just broke one of those little hooks. I bet you could hear it too. I don't know. I heard it and I felt it. Damn. Broke a little hook. Anyway, so yeah, the Carnival of Chaos I think would be really fun. I am a very theatrical person. I'm very over the top. So I am always drawn to anything that's like, yeah, we got Harlequins, we got anything that is, yeah, carnival-esque themed. I love masks, that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh, I don't know. My wife texted me. Sorry. Yeah, Carnival of Chaos. I love Nurgle. I've not messed with Nurgle since I made a model for my buddy Sam when we were playing Black Crusade. Yeah, Black Crusade. We were playing Black Crusade, and he had a character named Bragar the Undying, and he was so broken, like toughness. Like essentially, our Black Crusade story, it ended like because everybody got so over the top god tier. I had to like GM pull the reins in and pretty much made it to where it was like, okay, all this actually happened in Bragar's head. You guys died like back in the first mission when one of you point blanked a knight's reactor. One of them, so to bring you all up to speed in this situation, they came across a Imperial Knight, and it started with, this is just so ridiculous and just absolute just murder hobo bullshittery that D&D and role-playing games in general are. It started with the Berserker, Krath. Krath has mag boots. Of course, they all have mag boots. Krath's mag boots work, though. That was one of the things that I remember distinctly when you're building your character in Black Crusade, like, there are parts of your armor that do and do not function still, which is cool, because in the counterpart Death Watch, you get all the goodies, whereas Black Crusade, it makes you feel the poorness of the Long War, which is something I've always really appreciated when an author puts that touch to it. Anyway, so Krath, this fucking psychopath, with his mag boots. I'm trying to remember. It's been years, so I'm not going to be able to get the words, but I know the gist of it was he was wanting to run and jump and activate his mag boots so he could walk up the night. And I will be honest, we we did the math. None of us could think of a reason it couldn't work. Um, and he passed his test for it. I don't remember what he rolled, but I remember it was one of those moments we were all just like, "Oh shit!" Like he needed some crazy roll. I was like, "That's going to be a hard like agility to run and jump and throw yourself at like a 90-degree angle onto this knight." But then he pulls out like a sub, like 10. It was like less than 10 on a D100, and it was like, "Okay, fuck, you're on there." So they pretty much he proceeded to then walk up said Imperial Knight and rip him out of the cockpit after like hacking at like they pretty much just beat the shit out of this knight's joints until eventually they were able to crack it open and then desecrate him. And that is how the story went on their side. What actually happened is in the process of this, one of them broke into the reactor and the whole thing fucking went nuclear and kills all of them except for Brigar. He's the only one that was tough enough that he did survive essentially a nuclear reaction going off in his face. Uh, that is how that is how many wounds and how high his toughness was. It was absurd, just comical. Yeah. Everyone else is just nothing, and he's just like, "What happened?" And so I pretty much went with the story that the rest of our campaign was in his head. That pretty much it's part of his madness that he is this wandering, uh, plague riddled champion. But the Undying, it's kind of like a Typhus esque character, but not awesome. More of like sad and tragic. Like it doesn't even realize that it's like not even sentient. Really, it's just a wanderer, not aware of what's reality or what's not. And I think that is like part of the horror for like Nurgle for me is it's not the physical, it's like the mental. Like there's a story from Eisenhorn, not to give any spoilers, but that deals a lot with that, and that is a horror of mine. That is like so real. I love any kind of horror tropes where they play on not being able to trust your memories. I always think that's a really, really fucking scary. Slayer that killed a dragon by crawling into its butthole. It is that exact same that exact same kind of situation. Uh, our our warband was just absolutely awful. We had Krath, who had a chain hammer. That was his weapon of choice, a chain hammer. I was pumped that that was a weapon included in the game, that they were like, hey, chain hammers. So then I got to design a chain hammer, which I ended up using on the chain hammer from the Overseer in my Curse of the Alabaster game. He actually has the hammer that I initially built for my buddy Jeffrey's character Krath. That was his chain hammer. I thought that the hammer was too cool to like throw away the work that I had done on it. So when we stopped playing, uh, I kept it and used that. But Brigar I did finish, and Brigar is you can find a picture of him on my Instagram. But he was one of the first things I posted over on the ammo bunker back in the old days. I'm liking that. Oh boy, liking that a lot. That's looking good. This is getting good. So, I'm liking that. Those are some good, nasty, yellowy red tones. Yeah, that is very pleasing. In the worst way. But yeah, we had Regar, who worshipped Nurgle and just was unkillable. I played a possessed Thousand Sun Sorcerer that was essentially using them all. Um, it's a good way to play around with being the GM and also getting to play the game. That's my go-to. It's just have a character that is like an NPC, but it's really the GM's character. Because no one else will ever GM for me. Okay. So we had that. My wife's character was a Iron Warrior that had this crazy drone, this murder drone. Uh, but she was like a tech priest, or not a tech priest, but like a warpsmith. My buddy Josh played a Emperor's Children swordsman, and then my buddy Kim played Vortog, which was a noise marine who was blind and communicated or saw through sound, like echolocation, and spent like, I mean, the vast majority, like Cameron absolutely won the role playing because like he played an Emperor's Child. Like we were a Black Legion like war band, but he played the most Emperor's Children noise marine. Like barely got anything done. Like it was he was fighting us every step of the way because he was just getting distracted doing whatever he wanted, and everything he wanted was awful. Okay, we got to go do this while I'm still desecrating these bodies. Also, he talks like that. Um, but yeah, no, that was those were the good old days. That's shit. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I played some Black Crusade. My buddy Sean played like a stealth, like Alpha Legion dude. Like his name was Python. And then my buddy Tyler. I had way too big of a group. That's why I didn't last as long. If you're picking up on that, I played a renegade, kind of like Space Wolf Viking S character. He really likes Space Wolves, so it's like that's the closest I can come up with. It's like a renegade land, or you can make your own chapter. So yeah, there's that. That looks pretty nasty. So I'm gonna let this ink dry for a little bit, and then I'm probably going to, not probably, I am. I'm going to go back in with the yellow, pick up on some of the spots that I covered up a little too much. But I'm liking that. It's gonna look real gross. These legs don't feel great when I touch them. Hopefully you guys can see that all right. I'm pretty pleased with this camera. Shout out to, of course, Modern Synthesis, but my buddy Nick for recommending it. It's the ones that he uses, so I figured they gotta be good. Looks like he was right. That looks pretty slick. Yeah, really, I'm hoping today to sit down and try to come up with some more ideas of what to make actual videos about. But I know the hair. Oh yeah, that looks great. Thank you. I know the hair is one. My wife made a recommendation, and I didn't know if this is something that anyone would be interested in, but that I should make a video showing like me, how I go about finding weird stuff outside to use, like the goblin kind of side of things. And I don't know if that, looking gnarly. Thank you. Surprised you found me. I don't know if that is something that anyone would be interested in. But if it is, I don't know if that's already something that someone has made a video of. Like, I would think it would be more of like a turnip kind of video. But that's really a good chunk of what my work is just using weird stuff in ways that you wouldn't normally. Like a lot of this is just, a lot of the texture is just the lichen that I had on there previously breaking down and kind of merging into it. So it's got a real organic, like literal organic kind of build to it. Man, that ink is 100%. She's right. Okay. Well then, I would think that somebody would have done that. I'm I'm a hermit. Like I don't. I really, I just hermit too much. But I would think that someone for like turnip and stuff would have made a a video or something about showing how to harvest stuff and what to harvest. But that probably is, yeah. Well, if you guys are interested, I'll do that. I think that would be really handy if it's something you guys would like, because there are definitely things that I want to use that I'm like, oh yeah, but I know I can't. And making a video could definitely save some people some time. and a lot of frustration because there are so many cool things that you can find out there in the world to use that are not able to be preserved. Like, they would look really cool, but man, you just fungus is the number one. Any kind of fungus whatsoever, there's just no way to preserve it and keep it for a model in a way that is sustainable. Like, you could, uh, in the sense, and I like that. I love the idea of like, oh yeah, no, it's literally those are real mushrooms. I grew mushrooms on my models. You could do that. How to hoard by How to be a hoarder by Red Wet Skeleton. How to make your wife upset with you. My wife's not upset with me. She's actually very proud of me because I've used so many things that I've been hoarding for years for the Styrian stuff, like the big walker that we built. Like, I've been hoarding parts of that for a decade, and then I built a whole bunch of terrain, but I didn't take. But I did build a whole bunch of terrain for the board that I took. I didn't get it painted, but again, that was from Cities of Death, which was 2005, 6 maybe when that came out. But I bought an absurd amount uh, because why wouldn't you as a young lad in high school or fresh out, worried about your future? You gotta get the big old Cities of Death box. It just seems like the only choice. If you can tell, I was not very worried about my future. I just kind of existed, just coast. Not because it was planned for me, but because it was just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just winging my entire life. And that's how I ended up literally at this moment, just winging it. Oh boy, though, that yellow is looking good and nasty on that red. Beep, 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 beep. Boop. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. I need to talk to Nick and find out who his sticker guy is, because I have an idea for a sticker that I really want someone to draw for me. But I was thinking I would like a really big, silly, fluffy kitty laying on its back that looks really cute and cuddly. That kind of looks like my son Theodore, a little goofy Maine Coon, or like just me as a big old cat laying back all silly with a big smile. And then I kind of wanted the words to read like if you got punched so hard that it turned you into a red mist and then that would be the bold font Red Wet Skeleton. Like, man, I need a Red Wet Skeleton stickers. And I've got my little logo now, so I can get those stickers, but I kind of want a really silly one that kind of shows that I'm a big old goofball, but also that I like really grisly stuff too. And I thought something that looked like a little cute kitty saying something really disturbing would be really funny. That's just kind of my humor, I guess. That's looking real nasty. Oh boy. Like, you would go to the doctor and they'd be like, you got to go to the hospital. That's infected. Definitely. Now, when I was putting, yeah, I keep getting caught in the hair. The hair. Oh my gosh. Damn it. I keep getting caught in this hair. It's just too much hair. It's everywhere. It's a dashboard confessional. I never listened to Dashboard. I hated people that did. I had friends who did. I would never sink to that level. I listened to a lot of emo music though. I was very. If anyone caught that Dashboard lyric reference, that's like the only song I know. Alright, so skins. That yellow is just getting nastier and nastier. I think it might need some white. We need to get that lanced. Oh yeah, like it's. Oof. It looks like it's something that you would get lanced or drilled out. Oof. Thinking maybe some white, like a real nice to pale yellow. I think actually, maybe like a bright ivory. That's kind of a sickly kind of yellow. I think kind of gross looking. Let's take a peek. Transparent white could also turn out really cool on it though, so we'll grab that one too. We'll just keep it over here next to us. I'm thinking this bright ivory will do me right. Don't do me wrong. I'm feeling good about it. I'm thinking I've got high hopes. I have high hopes, high expectations. Beep, 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 beep. Alrighty. Alright. What the heck was even that noise? I have a trash can right underneath my legs. It was the trash can. It was not the trash cans. Now I'm wondering, is this a mistake? I don't feel like it is. I'm feeling confident. Not overly confident. Thinking a very light wisp. Could be good though. Lightest of wisps. Something kind of moved, I think. I don't know. Alright. There we go. Yeah, that's looking real gross. Yeah, that's looking real gross. Oof. Yeah, okay. I don't like it. That's how you know that you're doing it right. That that is a very not visually pleasing little organic looking little knot. But that definitely is a big like yep, that's why I love using stuff that I find outside. Merge that with sculpting. Just to get such good organic shapes. Like there's just sculpted I could not have made if I sculpted it there would have been more planning. I think if that that's still wet. I'm dancing with the devil right here. Oh shit. That's that's a quote I'd like. Dancing with the devil. That's how I want to handle all my painting. Uh yeah, okay. So God, that looks good. I'm liking that. Do you have a favorite texturing technique? So I the biggest one that I have it's just like my go-to, and this is like so the bases like these bases are pretty much I take a fast drying spackle, and that's the biggest thing. I didn't really cover that. The reason, let me go ahead and grab that again. because it is awesome. And I'm obviously not affiliated by any of this stuff in any way. This is just stuff that I bought. Hey, might as well pass the information on to you guys. But this stuff, and I can't remember how much it was, about like $20 for 3.5 pounds, which is stupid. From a hobby standpoint, like if this same thing was, if I like ripped this label off and the sides and I charged you guys the same stuff and called it like fast setting sculpting clay, like you could sell this at $50 easy. Like, but literally all it is it's vinyl spack. So because it's made to go in places that are a very similar like makeup, like vinyl, plastic, they're not too far apart. And you can also use this in wood. So it's also water-based, dries hard, fast, sands easy, paintable, all the things here. You cannot get detail in it, but it is something that will establish if you need to build up a layer, or if you're trying to add like an incline or something, you just need to bulk something up quick, fast, and you need to be able to do it so you can like paint it that day. There's just nothing else that I have seen that can help me knock out as much work and put as much bulk onto something as quick as that stuff. I would not have gotten the child inverted done if it hadn't been for that. Its legs and its arms and its body are, a lot of it is just mainly that, just styrofoam and aluminum foil wrapped up, hosed with super glue, and then sprayed with zip kicker until I don't know how I didn't get a chemical burn, and then just lathered in spackling. And then this is the technique. I pretty much go from there. I have various different levels of grit that I use. And this is a process of, it's a long process, but I've got different layers of like, nice, I just discovered no sand spackle for texturing and I love using it for building walls. Yeah, it's amazing. And the fact that there's nothing that like is marketed towards hobbyists right now. I'm sure there will be, but there's nothing marketed towards hobbyists right now that does the same thing at a crazy markup. And I've not seen anyone else use this. I used it because I'm just always looking for stuff that can be purposed, like, for what I want it for. And again, the biggest thing with this set of models in particular was weight. And epoxy sculpt, there's no way, if I had made the child inverted out of epoxy sculpt, it probably would weigh close to 10, 15 pounds. I don't know how much it weighs now. I should probably figure out how much it weighs. But it would weigh so much more if I had used epoxy sculpt, because that spackling, once it's dry, it's extremely lightweight because it's made to go in your walls. So this is my favorite texture, but it's hermit crab sand. And I'd say it's my favorite in the sense that it's the most unique. And there is a term, and I know technically all sand is made from crushed shells and stuff, but there is a specific type of sand that I read about at one point in time, and I cannot remember the term for it. It's a weird term, but it's a type of sand that is used in hermit crab tanks typically, or and it might even be like almost like cuttle bone, but it's a type of sand that is used in hermit crab tanks, but it's just made up of crushed shell. And the reason that I like it so much is you can see how fine it is. It is extremely fine, and it holds that fineness even when it gets wet. That's what makes it really good, is that it's the finest sand that I have found. And again, because it is for hermit crabs, you can go to a pet store and buy a bag. I have So I have this. This is what I use to actually like make my stuff with. And then I also have this repurposed dishwasher cloth thing, just full of the rest of the bag because I bought I'd say it was probably a 20 to 30 pound bag of hermit crab sand for maybe $20, but it's just like so much cheaper than anything actually meant for hobbies, and it's so fine. There's not another sand as fine, to my knowledge, at least not in that price range. And then after that, we'll be at my house. It's mailman. I think I got a package. I got a package. So I'm gonna go have to get that because that's exciting. Brita filters. That's the next thing. Silica quartz sand. Silica quartz sand is similar. They're back. I'm gonna go check on that. I don't want them to take my package. I go. It's a package from the wires. And then my wife got something. I didn't even look at that. I just realized what the other one was. So I had to go put that too. Beep, beep, beep. Silica quartz sand. Silica quartz sand. Eric, you're a crazy person. I actually do have some silica quartz sand though. But I have that for I have that to keep things from getting too wet in my 3D printer. This is Brita filters, but the silica quartz sand would probably work. I don't mess with it because I have too many kitties, and I keep it in a box that I'm pretty sure the label just says poison. So these are 4 different levels of Brita filter grid, and I use these a lot. I like these a lot. They are from taking any Brita filter, cracking it open, which I use those as well, like that. I can actually show you. So I accidentally knocked this off, but this is a part of the Walker. This is not the right one. This is one of the other ones. But actually, no, it's not. So this, you can see down in there, about here is where it ended. But that was a Brita filter, and that is some kind of medicine pill bottle on top with a bunch of green ones. But yeah, you can tell because no, this goes to the Brita filter. This goes to the actual Brita filtered pitcher. This is what the filter sits down into. I cut this out. The top of the Brita filter pitcher is the top of the actual walker itself. So I'm just going to pick the thing up. So these guys right here are Brita filters. I like them a lot, mainly for actually what you can't see, but on the top of the Brita filter, there's a lot of I don't know if I would say texture, but I've used Brita filters for a lot of different things. The front of Spite is a Brita filter. So, like this, that faceplate is a Brita filter that I've cut like parts off of to make it completely uniform. And this one's I think this is the next one I'm going to work on after Frustration, because I'm excited to do this one right. It's going to be horrible. The other things I use Brita filters for, because they have a lot of slats and stuff at the top, is for terrain. So it's like a win-win-win. You cut open a Brita filter, you get the cool terrain pieces, and then you also get the Brita filter candy inside, which is essentially a mix of these small little beads. So that's where a lot of little circular beads that I sometimes will let stay visible in my textures. That's where they come from. That's where sometimes they come from. Sometimes they're micro beads, but sometimes they're Brita filters. But it's just very readily available for me because I had a lot of Brita filters. But now I don't use Brita filters anymore. So I still have some that I've gotten from my mom. And other people have given me. That is another thing. Is like over the years I've kind of established myself as a weirdo. So a lot of people give me weird shit that like normally would go in the trash, but they give it to me and I turn it into cool stuff. But that's Brita filter 4, and I've got 3, so it's essentially taking. I got it down. I don't know where I put it, but I have a sifter that was originally for kombucha, and I like kombucha, but I can only make kombucha so much. You know what I mean? So, man, I don't know where I put that thing. Man, there it is. It's on the floor. What am I doing? Okay, so this guy. You just you pour them in there. You see what comes out. That's how you filter out the different granule sizes. Which that is like pretty small. This is like big, a little bit smaller, and then like you get down to like the smallest. And this is not quite sand, but it's like a little bit bigger. And I like, this is mainly broken parts of the carbon. Like the rest of that is like, you get the carbon, then you have all the little balls, which I don't know what they are, but that's what's inside of. I'm sure it's some kind of chemical compound that is supposed to absorb whatever chemical compound are in the water. That's the part that actually is filtering it, and carbon, to my knowledge, is more of like a purifier, like the same way you use it the same way some people use it in fish tanks. I don't put carbon in my fish tanks. All mine are natural, because carbon, if you have carbon in your fish tank, it reduces the amount of space for actual like biofiltration, and that's the most important thing. Like, you can have a bunch of gunk in there, but as long as you've got, as long as you have an ecosystem, that's the whole part, and that's why I like doing that kind of stuff. That was a tangent, but I do a lot of aquariums. I like animals. It's all a balancing act. I was talking about sands. So I've got the Brita filter grit. I've got this sand. I have another basing sand blend, and this is, at this point, Activated charcoal. Yeah, activated charcoal is uh is typically what it would be. So this is just a like yeah, you go to the game store and you buy some grit or ballast, I believe is the term. But this is at this point. I used to have like 3 or 4 big the like dishwasher totes of different ballasts that I've bought over the years, but this is all that I have left of like, oh, I bought this at the store and it's for wargaming. So I've reduced it down to like my stuff that I've figured out pretty well. So there's that. I don't think I have any more of the bowl, but I use a big bowl like a savage when I'm like really texturing. And this is just a nod to Hive Scum. Love those guys. But the trash from the bin, dirt from the floor. This I just put the sticker on there, but it was just a box that just said dirt from the floor on both the top and on the bottom, and that's kind of what it is. It says what it is on the box. It's when I am doing any of this, like any kind of like crazy, really throwing a bunch of grit and texture and stuff, and like cutting pieces off of a model. Like this is essentially when you would normally be like, okay, it's time to clean up, and you rake it into the trash can. I rake it into this. And that is like my basing for the most part is I will reach into this just jar of trash because it is very naturally diversified. And if I give it a good little shake, I just am able to get really good diverse like bases. I just dump that all over my sweatpants. It's not completely sealed apparently. Got my sweats dirty. Anywho, that's those are mainly the textures that I have. And then the last one is cork crumbles. Well, not the last one. I've got a bunch of textures. Cork crumbles are one that I use, and then baking soda. Baking soda is it's one of the biggest because I put it on. If anything is like flat, it at least gets baking soda. When I'm doing like a lot of actual like model building, I pull my pants up. Sorry, don't mean to flash, guys. When I am putting texture, and I'm debating if I want to do it there. I don't think I will because I do think I want that kind of smooth. I'm probably gonna put some strings on it, so it'll get a little different. But this right here particularly, there's a couple spots you can kind of tell where it's like wider. Those are definitely spots that were just really smooth that I was trying to add texture to like kind of even out, and then the same thing with the legs. The legs are just me taking PVA glue or super glue and just getting them wet and throwing baking soda on them, just letting them stick, and then just getting texture just because I think that is, at least for me, something that at this point, it might even almost be like an obsession. Just I think the moment that I realized that my biggest issue with like Tyranids, I started playing Warhammer with Tyranids. And the part, I think before I realized, oh man, Space Marines are proportioned terribly. I can remember before I realized that the Tyranid models were not anywhere near what they should be. Like, based on the artwork that, like, Adrian Smith did, just Goodwin did some amazing artwork. There's some really amazing Tyranid artwork out there. And their carapaces, like while their carapaces are smooth, it's like smooth in the way that shark's smooth. You know that if you rub your hand over that, you're going to be just bleeding. Like, it's like just razor blades just all along it. It kind of looks smooth, but it's not smooth. And I think that's kind of a similar kind of vibe that I tried to get with the chola wood. And that's kind of why I leaned towards using wood. Is wood has the ability to have this very uniform shape. A branch, a tree, it can be very uniform, but it's so organic. It's organic because it is the thing. And I think that's just a big part of how I make my art, is blending the organic with the inorganic. If I want something to look truly organic, it's hard unless I have had a very specific vision in my head. It's hard to truly feel like I make something organic. And that's just me being a weirdo. Upstairs, I've got in my studio, I've got Jason Funderburker. Blessed be her soul. She is a very large Pac-Man frog. She is all lady. She loves eating worms, and she sits in the dirt all day, every day. And then I pick her up and I put her in her bowl and I give her a worm. And then she makes her way back to the hole sometime. I don't normally watch. It takes a long time. She's really lazy. Love her. Big mouth with eyes. But she lives in a large terrarium that I've set up like to be an ecosystem because I like to have control over those kinds of things. Same thing with fish tanks. I've got 4. We have 4 fish tanks. I used to have 7. I'm getting under control. I think I'm trying to put my focus back on this as opposed to managing multiple ecosystems. A little less stressful. It's fun to pretend to be God for a while, but then you're like, you know what? I'd rather make monsters and be God like that. So that's what I'm doing now. Anywho, I like to look into what all goes into making an ecosystem, making these things. So I like to pay attention to, I don't know, I love nature. And just watching, especially my isopods, those and my shrimp tank. I used to have a shrimp tank. I took it down. But I love watching them because they're always doing something so strange. And it's just a reminder. I like to peek in there and just kind of watch them do their thing, because while I like provide them what they need in every sense, I have no idea what the fuck they're doing at any point in time. Like, they're always doing something, and they always are so, like, you never will look into like the tank and like, man, that shrimp, that isopod, they don't have any idea what the fuck they're doing with their life. That's never a thing that has ever popped into my head. When I look at them, I'm like, whatever that guy's doing over there, he's killing it. Like, I know he's killing it. Like, they're all killing it. They're so good at doing their weird little buggy stuff, and I'm so proud of them all. And yeah, so I think about that kind of stuff. I like to look at how nature kind of makes its things. I like to try to find things that reoccur in nature and try to recreate them. It's a bit of a tangent, but I think that's it. I think the more I watch nature, the more I understand, but also I find that I'm not able to recreate it. I find that it's better to pull and to reuse. And even then, like, I'm not using nature in the way that it's like, I'm not using flowers as flowers. I'm using flowers as orifices and organs. It's not at all like what they are, but they also kind of are, because that's what a flower is. A flower is an organ on that, like, living thing, like it making that. It's weird. Nature's weird. I think the more that I'm able to like blend it into the inorganic, I think that further enhances the horror, I think, of my art. Which, another one of the topics that I was like, I know eventually I'm wanting to deal with is probably, some people will hate this and some people will really like it, but I have been debating on if it would be interesting as a project to do like my own homebrew chapter of Space Marines. I have thought about it for years, and I've never really come to that's the kind of crew that I like. But I have matured and I've thought more about the setting, and my abilities I think are a lot better. I think I could come up with some good things. First thing and foremost would be that they would have both male and female Space Marines. And by that I mean the humans that were stolen and then hacked into pieces and turned into giant monsters were males and females. But at the end of the day, a Space Marine is just it's a thing. It's not a. I don't I don't personally hold to Space Marines having gender post like transformation. Like I don't. I think that they're beyond that. That's like part of the whole post humanity thing. Uh, very very liberal, pro everybody's rights, but I think women would be just as good of a canvas if you're just kind of cramming muscle and organs that you grew in a lab inside of it. I don't think there's like any actual science that would show. And that's just me kind of rambling. I have had this conversation with the Wires before, and as three scientists, they also agree. But so that's the first and foremost is I would want whatever, if I made a chapter, I would want it to be very much a, yep, some of them also had vaginas at one point in time. And then the other part would be I would want it to be brutal as fuck. I would want it to be very much not the Space Marines that you try to sell to the family. It would be like, I don't know, they would just need to be very, very, very brutal. Almost nihilistic, probably. In their brutality. I'm thinking that would be good. But I don't know. I'll think about it. But people also might not want to see me do anything with Space Marines. They might just want to watch me make awful monsters all the time. That's looking nasty. Yep, that white. That white was a good choice. I think I might. I might end the stream here though a little bit. I don't know how long I've been going. 3 hours. Okay. I might stop the stream here, guys, but it's been real. I have enjoyed hanging out with you all and chatting, and very much appreciate everyone that got on and hung out with me while I painted and listened to me talk and talk back. It definitely helps me finish things. It helps me feel better about my hobby. And I like to feel like I'm talking to people that want to hear me talk. So, but I'm gonna in this stream. I will actually make a schedule that I'll post on the YouTube channel, and then I will probably spend the rest of the weekend working on ideas of what to do for videos. Absolutely no problem, man. If you guys think of anything whatsoever that you would like to have a video on, like feel free to like shoot me a DM on Instagram or put it in the chat here, or I think there's comments. So I don't know if you can comment on this since it's a stream. I don't know, but you guys have a good one.